So yesterday we had stopped at the point where we told that a freewheeling diode needs to be connected in parallel with the load so that there is a discharge path available for the inductive energy. And the reason why we told we have to put a freewheeling diode is this, that we are told that um, in the load side, if we have an inductor L, then the presence of this inductance leads to the diode continuing to conduct in the illegal half cycle. And we told that as the value of L increases, this negative portion, it goes on increasing, and it reduces the value of VLAVG, which is undesirable. So if the value of L goes on increasing at one point of time, or for one value of L, the negative portion below x-axis can become almost equal to the area above x-axis. So the value of L is too large, then the area of the waveform over one cycle above and below x-axis will be equal, and we will get VLA which is equal to 0. But as we know, this particular circuit is expected to convert a unidirectional waveform Vs. Sorry, it is this circuit is supposed to convert the bidirectional signal Vs into unidirectional signal. So the waveform at the load, or the load voltage waveform, should be unidirectional. It should be either only above x-axis, or it should be either only below x-axis. So what is expected from the load voltage waveform is it should exist either above x-axis or below x-axis, so that we will get a non-zero value of VLAVG. So one thing I want to tell you, that somebody may tell that, sir, if the presence of inductance in the load is creating a problem, why not to eliminate it? It is not possible. Understand that all practical loads for converters are actually motors or inductive loads. That is why simply telling that if L is creating a problem in the sense that it is reducing the value of VLAVG because it leads to conduction in the illegal half cycle, better remove it. We cannot remove it. Okay, so we will make a point here. While L is responsible for VL extending in the illegal half cycle and reducing the value of VLAVG, can we not remove it? The answer is no. L cannot be removed from load because all practical loads for any power converter, because all practical loads for are inductive in So since L cannot be removed, we use a freewheeling diode to remove the negative vestige. Okay. Yeah. Fine. So now we will draw the waveforms associated with this circuit to appreciate the circuit operation better. So we have the source current Is, the source voltage Vs. Then we have the diode current Ia, diode drop VAK. We have the diode voltage Vd, diode current Id. And please note that the anode is given a positive reference with respect to the cathode. We have the load current and we have the load voltage, and most importantly we have these two nodes X and Y representing top and bottom of the inductive load. So voltages comma currents in the interval omega t greater than or equal to 0 radians to less than equal to 2 pi radians. So interval this is the positive half cycle. So positive half cycle, the analysis is diode equal to forward biased equal to short circuit. The source current equal to diode current equal to the load current is inductive charging. All of us know that in an inductor the formula is inductor of T equal to V by R into 1 minus e raised to minus T into R by L. So basically this charging is having this nature, inductive charging. So because the source, diode and load are in series, so source current is equal to the diode current is equal to the load current. Okay. So understand that ID represents the current through the freewheeling diode and IA represents the current through the power diode. Okay. So don't confuse between IA and ID. Although both of them are diodes, the horizontal diode is the power diode and the vertical diode is a freewheeling diode. Okay, and the status of the freewheeling diode is that the freewheeling diode is equal to reverse biased equal to open circuit. Why? Because during positive half cycle, the line is positive with respect to neutral, the diode is conducting. So this particular positive gets impinged here across the cathode, and this negative comes here. So freewheeling diode is reverse bias, so acts as open circuit. So in that case, your I of D equal to 0, and the Vd is equal to Vs, but it is negative. So understand one thing, that when this diode acts as a short circuit, then the source voltage Vs appears across the freewheeling diode. So freewheeling diode acts as open circuit, and it will have the negative source voltage appearing across it. Okay, having said this, um, we know, yeah, so here also diode, we have VAK equal to 0, right? So during positive half cycle, VAK is equal to 0, IA is equal to IS equal to IL is equal to inductive charging according to this formula, V by R into 1 minus e raised to minus t into R by L. The freewheeling diode is reverse biased because the negative half cycle appears across it, and the current is 0 and load current is same as which is said here. So VL in this particular interval is equal to Vs. Okay. Now similarly we can analyze for the negative half cycle, and we can put all these values. Negative half cycle, omega t greater than equal to pi less than equal to 2 pi radians. Here, as we said, that diode will now be reverse biased equal to open circuit. Now you may ask a question that says, sir, yesterday you told that the SCR does not get, I'm very sorry, you may tell that, sir, yesterday you told that the diode continues to remain forward biased even beyond omega t equal to pi, because a larger negative voltage is getting applied at the cathode compared to the negative voltage at the anode due to LdI by dt. But here this will not happen, because now the SCR, the inductive load is having a discharge path. So SCR equal to reverse bias equal to open circuit, and so the voltage appearing across the diode is now equal to Vs. Um, the source voltage now becomes equal to 0 because the source gets disconnected from the load. Okay, because of the presence of freewheeling diode, this particular LdI by dt, it discharges through the diode. So there is no connectivity between the load side and the source side. So source current becomes equal to 0. The diode, the freewheeling diode, not freewheeling diode, the power diode is reverse biased. So we have IA equal to 0. And most importantly, the load current IL will have a discharge kind of a nature. So IL will be discharging from maximum value to 0. Okay, and VL will now become equal to 0 because VL equal to VD. Okay, also understand, students, that the freewheeling diode will start conducting during this interval for a short time. So till the inductor discharges energy, till that time the diode will be conducting, and during this time the load voltage is equal to Vd, which is equal to 0. Okay, so now based on this analysis we can very quickly draw the waveforms here. source voltage Vs, load voltage, load current, so source voltage, load current, voltage across the power diode, voltage across the freewheeling diode, and the current. Source voltage, load voltage, load current, power diode voltage, power diode current, voltage across the freewheeling diode, and current through the freewheeling diode. So let us mark the important intervals. Pi, okay. So let this be the instance where the inductor energy gets discharged. Load voltage will exist here. Becomes 0. Okay. This is important now. The load, as soon as the load gets connected to the source at the beginning of positive half cycle, the current will rise like this till here. Now from 0 to pi, the diode is conducting, power diode. So voltage across it will be ideally 0. Yeah. The power diode current will similarly increase like this. Diode voltage, the negative half cycle will appear across it. And the diode current will be, the freewheeling diode current will be 0. Okay. Now after this things become little complicated. So understand students that from this interval to this interval there is freewheeling action. Okay. Freewheeling action. During freewheeling action what happens is the load voltage remains 0 and this is what happens. Okay. The load current during the freewheeling period will drop from Imax to Imin and then it will continue to remain 0 and again it will increase like this, fall like this. Okay. As far as the drop across the diode is concerned, it becomes 0. And then negative half cycle will appear across it. Again it will become 0. Okay. As far as device current is concerned, from pi to 2 pi, it is not conducting, so it will fall like this, continue at 0 like this, again increase and fall like this here. Okay. As far as diode is concerned, freewheeling diode, during the freewheeling period, the current it immediately shoots like this and it falls like this. Very sorry, I made a mistake. It will continue like this. Yeah. And the diode current like this. So these points will be the same. this is same as this is same as this. Okay, so students understand this thing, that if I simply convert this system from half wave uncontrolled rectifier to half wave controlled rectifier, I have to make only one change, otherwise everything else remains the same. So I have to simply replace the diode with an SCR. This is what I'll do now. Half wave control rectifier RL load. Everything else remains the same. Only one difference which comes is here I have an SCR. Okay. Okay. Everything else remains the same. Even the waveforms will remain the same with only one difference, that if I am firing the SCR at alpha, let me also show that. Okay. So here SCR is fired at omega t equal to alpha radians. Let us copy the waveforms and change them so that they become suitable for half wave control rectifier. The only change which I have to make is I have to simply add one time marker alpha, and the time instant for alpha has to be projected right from the first waveform to the last waveform. The only difference which will come is the load voltage will now start at alpha and it will end at pi. Control rectification. Load current will now be 0 like this, and it will start from alpha go here. Similarly, be 0 till here, and then it will increase till I max and then fall down. Okay. Here the difference will be from 0 to alpha, the SCR is forward bias but it's not conducting. In off state, it will experience this voltage like this. Same changes here. Okay, so we can make a point here. Between waveforms for HW UCR and HW CR is that the current and is that load voltage waveforms start at omega t equal to alpha instead of omega t equal to 0 radians. The only difference between waveforms for HW uncontrolled rectifier and HWCR is that the load voltage and load current waveforms start at omega t equal to alpha instead of omega t equal to 0 radians. Okay. Yeah. Classification of converters. So basically converters can be classified depending upon different criterions. So we can classify them like that. First, can be classified based on different criterions. The first criterion based on which we can classify is quadrant of operation. So based on quadrant of operation, we have three types. First, it's called as one quadrant converters. One quadrant converters, and as the name suggests, they can operate in only one quadrant, either the first or the third quadrant. Okay, so one quadrant converters means they operate only in quadrant 1 or quadrant 3. Okay, while what we can do is this is it's very important for you to understand, students. Please listen carefully. Y-axis is the VLAVG axis and X-axis is the ILAVG axis. Okay, so this is VLAVG and this is ILAVG. So you can see here positive VLAVG, negative VLAVG, positive ILAVG and negative ALAVG, right? So based on that, we can have four quadrants here. Quadrant 1, where both VLAVG and ILAVG are positive. If VLAVG is positive but ILAVG is negative, it is second quadrant operation. If both VLAVG and ILAVG are negative, it is third quadrant operation. And if VLAVG is negative and current is positive, then it is fourth quadrant operation. Okay, so now you'll be able to understand what I'm telling. So when I say quadrant means it is actually four different combinations of VLAVG and ILAVG. So one quadrant converters can convert in only one of the two quadrants, that is first or third quadrant. Okay, so operate in either first or third quadrant. Okay, an example of one quadrant converters are semi converters. Okay, semi converter is a circuit which most of you have performed as a part of Power Electronics Practicals 3.A. So example is semi converter. Okay, the second type is two quadrant converters. As the name suggests, they can operate in both first and fourth quadrant. So they are called as two quadrant converters. So they can operate in first and fourth quadrant. In the sense, the same circuit can operate in first and the fourth quadrant. And here when I say either 1 or 3, it means that if you want the circuit to operate in third quadrant, then you have to reverse the direction of devices. So I can make a comment here that semi-converter circuit. So we can say either first or third means what? Either means device direction has to be reversed for quadrant 3 operation. That means what? By default it operates in first quadrant. Okay, semiconductor, I can say a comment that default is quadrant 1. Okay, so the default is quadrant 1 and the device direction has to be reversed for quadrant 3 operation. Okay, so two quadrant converters means what? Same circuit can operate in first and the fourth quadrant. So I can make a comment here again that full converter can operate. So experiment number 3.b represents a circuit which is a two quadrant converter. Full converter. Same circuit can operate in both first and fourth quadrant without reversing the direction of devices. Okay, so semiconductor is also called as half control bridge. Or HCB, and full converter is also known as fully controlled bridge. FCB. Okay, and we have the third one which is called as four quadrant converters. As the name suggests, they can operate in all four quadrants. Operate in 1, 2, 3 and 4 quadrants. The same circuit can operate in all four quadrants, and a classic example of a four quadrant converter is a dual converter. So we have one quadrant converters, we have two quadrant converters, and we have four quadrant converters. This is the first criterion of classification, that is what is the quadrant of operation, and second is the nature of the load voltage. As we told already, we have done before the concept of half controlled and fully controlled outputs. Second is So we can have 4. Third criterion, number of phases in the source. We can have okay. Yeah, this was a classification, and before we end, we would like to just introduce ourselves, based on which we will proceed after you come back from exams. The important point: bridge converters. Okay, so we can write here that bridge is a circuit arrangement consisting of arms which are vertical. Second thing, each arm has 2 switches, and this switch can either be a diode, it can be an SCR, it can be a power BJT, or it can also be a MOSFET. Okay, or it can also be an IGBT. Okay, a single phase bridge has 2 arms, that is 4 switches, and a 3-phase bridge has 3 arms, that is 6 switches. Okay, so as we define a single phase converter bridge can be drawn like this. This is the first arm 1, this is arm 2, this is the load, this is the source. Okay, switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, switch 4, connected like this. Here we have load, here we have our single phase AC source, switch S1, switch S2, switch S3, switch S4. Okay, students, the upper half of the bridge has all odd subscripts and lower half has all even subscripts. Okay, so this is our single phase source Vs, line, neutral, and S1, S2, S3 and S4. They can be either SCRs or MOSFETs. Okay, so if S1 equal to S2 equal to S3 equal to S4 equal to diodes, then the circuit will be called as full wave uncontrolled rectifier or simply a bridge rectifier. Okay, first. Second, if two switches out of 4 switches are SCRs and remaining 2 switches are diodes, then this circuit will be called as a semi converter. Third combination possible is if S1 equal to S2 equal to S3 equal to S4 equal to SCRs, then this is known as a full converter.